Okay, gang, a short technical video, I think. Just explaining how the departures board works and how to read the airplane tracker. I'd like to take a minute to thank my patrons on Patreon for their support. So right now we have Jade Supervan 14 about to leave. It's on a 1-minute call. This is what the 1 minute means. So Jade Supervan, this is the 14th flight it's made today. It has 1 minute left before it takes off, and there are 0 slots available, meaning that the plane is full. Okay? So when I say I'm in Twin Otter 8 in 29 minutes, I mean that as of the time I'm publishing the alert that I'm about to take off, or that I'm going to have a Parachute Mobile jump, I'm on this flight right here, Twin Otter 8, and the call on it is 29 minutes. There are 9 slots available, so 9 more people could get in on the flight. And here are the names of the people in the flight. Okay? If you don't see my name on it, don't worry. I have a nickname, and if you don't know my nickname, then you're not going to find me in here. Just know that what you're looking for is that I'm on Twin Otter 8 in 28 minutes. So if you're trying to figure out where I'm at, how long before I jump, go to the board. I always post the URL to this board. Look for the load that I called out for, and see how many minutes before it takes off. Once the plane takes off, depending on the plane, it can take anywhere between 12 and 20 minutes to get up to 14,000 feet, which is where we're using the flight tracker. Here we are, 901 Sierra Tango is on takeoff roll right now. You can tell because on the ground it is following the runway. Imagine that. And as it climbs, you're going to see that the information about N901 Sierra Tango starts showing you barometric altitude. The field elevation is going to be shown as part of the barometric altitude. Okay, so it just left the ground. It is 1,000 feet. No, it's really at 200 feet because the field is at 800 feet. When do you know it's time that I'm about to jump or I just jumped? Well, we're going to keep an eye on that plane until its jump run. Now, this plane has made 3 cycles so far. This is its 4th cycle without turning off the avionics. That's why the map is showing all, these 3 loops on and the 4th being built right now. As the plane increases in altitude, it changes the color of the track. And you can tell from this track that they're going west to gain altitude, hooking northeast to come back as they gain altitude, hooking southwest to get on jump run. You see where the altitude pretty much stays the same because the color of the line is the same. That is jump run. Today's jump run is probably 250 or in that neighborhood. And they're probably giving you the green light, something like right over the top or 0.1 or 0.2 miles after the center of the drop zone, which is marked by, not that dot, but that dot's where the antenna's at. But typically the center of the field for our tandem landing area. I'll come back to this when the plane is at jump run and show you guys what it looks like. So we're back to 901 Sierra Tango getting ready to be on jump run. It's finishing its sweep on a right-hand turn. And you see the altitude indicated, 13,800 feet, and it's staying pretty even. And you see that the vertical rate is actually losing something like 300, 400 feet a minute. See that the ground speed just slowed down a bit, and he's going to keep slowing down a little while. Now the ground speed varies because it has to do with interaction of the winds aloft and the airspeed. So don't pay too much mind to this other than it slowed a bit from its peak. And right about now they're getting the door, or the green light to get out of the door, maybe in another second. But you see how this altitude is already descending. We started at 13.8 and we're down to 13.6. So how can you tell I have jumped? Well, a couple of ways. I am typically the last person out. Not very long after I leave, this plane starts to dive pretty hard. The pilot gets paid to bring people up. The quicker he gets down, or the quicker she gets down, depending on who the pilot is that day, the quicker they can pick up the next load. And you see that they're descending pretty decently now. And he's losing or she is losing 5,800 feet a minute, I've already gotten out. If I'm jumping on this load, I've already gotten out. And this pilot is diving. So now is when you go to APRS and start looking for me, because typically I will carry my APRS beacon with me. And typically the first beacon you see is once I'm in the air, because even though I have it turned on inside of the airplane, the body of the airplane is blocking the signal. Sometimes it makes it out. I'm not going to say it doesn't. Sometimes it makes it out, especially if we have the door open or if I'm near the door. Most of the time, the first packet you see in APRS is I'm in the air under a parachute. So that's how you can tell when you should be looking to work me. Again, look at the load that I called for. Wait for it to take off. Once it takes off, go to the plane tracker and follow the plane through jump run. Jump run is going to be at about 14,000 feet mean sea level, what you're going to see here in Barrow altitude or in WGS 84 altitude. And you're going to see that it steadies out and then it starts to dive. Once it starts to dive pretty hard, I've already gotten out. You should start getting ready to get on the air.